The crypto market hasn't seen its most beautiful phase in a pretty long time. And it's quite interesting to me that right now, even though Bitcoin is at $55,000, that it all feels so bearish. It all feels so negative. And it's also quite interesting to me, and I think many people agree with this, that the $30,000, $40,000 range kind of feels like like that will be the lowest that Bitcoin has ever gone. And I've even been making videos on this channel when Bitcoin was at just $2,000. But even back then, it didn't feel so bad. Even in full-on bear markets, yeah, most of the time it doesn't feel as negative as what we're feeling right now. And so two things I've seen come up all the time are, is it over? Was the all-time high reached and from here on forward it is only down? And should we still be buying more? A lot of people like to reference the big Bitcoin ETFs that right now are seeing outflows. The last couple of days, we've seen a total of like, 600 million maybe in terms of outflows? No, I think it's actually slightly more, with again it being 7 days of just decline, decline, decline. And it's definitely made some people fearful. Matter of fact, over on Twitter, Thomas here posted, Fidelity sold 2,665 Bitcoin. They've sold 5,600 Bitcoin in the past 3 trading days. Is this capitulation? Is this where everybody gives up? And when looking at the charts, many people believe that yes, we are basically only gonna start going down from here. Slowly but surely, this is what we are looking like. But I disagree. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've not done it yet, make sure you go ahead and press that like button. The last couple of videos, you guys have done really amazing on that. Let's get this video up to 500 likes. And also, if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and join the Discord. The link is down below. I'm trying to get a better group of like-minded people in one space to hopefully maximize their gains that they can make with crypto by just having a little bit of a place to share ideas and hopefully money-making strategies. Having said that, it's been a while since Bitcoin saw the $70,000 mark, and it's been a while since there was real enthusiasm. Matter of fact, right now, Bitcoin is in extreme fear. It's been fear for a while, but right now it's back to extreme fear, even though not too long ago, I believe 2 weeks or so, everything was still looking good with the values of 54, but specifically back at the end of July, where we were basically in extreme greed. A lot has changed in a very short amount of time, with today again marking a pretty significant low point. But should you be worried? And if not, what are the signs to start going hard again? I made a little update over on Patreon for the first time in a long while, and I'm thinking of doing that every week. I'm not saying you guys should subscribe. If you're subscribed with the little, I'm not sure what it's called, button over on YouTube, you might have also seen the video. But I'll probably just release these for our Discord community as well. These are more strategy-related updates. And one of the core parts of it comes down to this. It was not shared exactly, but this is the type of thing I want to share more of. It's called conviction. If we take a look at the altcoin season index, one thing that becomes quite apparent is that right now we are at one of the absolute lowest points. And to me, it is always smart to start buying when you're on the upper range. It might sound stupid to you, but I always like to buy when things are already doing good, expecting them to do better rather than trying to buy the dip of the dip. Conversely though, if we're taking a look at the history, well, it really hasn't stayed below this 25 value line for more than a few months. Here, for example, it was from April to July. Back here, for example, was from March to July. To put that into perspective here in terms of the index went downhill, let's just say the beginning of April. So let's just say it went down when the altcoin market was at roughly $605 billion. So right there, let's say. It hit a bottom on roughly May 14th, so let's just quickly put that in. Roughly around May 14th, around these 2 days, it found a bottom right there. Tipped back up the first time around July 21st, but before flipping bullish, before going crazy, let's just call that November 5th. So July 21 and November 5th are interesting. And then the last interesting piece of data becomes January 23rd when we hit the top. So January 23rd is right around there. So what becomes interesting in this? I've actually not really looked at it this way too often, but it might be fun to do so. So one thing that becomes quite apparent is that just looking at this, the best time to buy would have been around this November marker, and the best time to sell would have definitely been around the January marker. So looking back, all these initial points when it was Bitcoin season, if we're looking at the altcoin market cap, it definitely wouldn't have been that interesting to buy. Even this initial dip and run up, you could have maybe made some gains on, but this run up right here from September 3rd to September 26th, it really wasn't that amazing. We went up a few percent, maybe 5% or so in altcoins. The real gains definitely lied between the moment it crossed above here, and I'd say the moment this stopped from being an uptrend towards going towards a downtrend, which could have either been the top once it was peaked out, which again would be January 22nd right there, or actually significantly further after altcoin season was quote unquote established. The prices went on to do pretty well for how long more? Let's just see here, another few months. Matter of fact, if you had sold anywhere over the next 200 days or so, you still could have made more money. Point being, if we had bought when things were lowest, yes, if we held on for a long amount of time, we would have made crazy gains. And that's actually one of the most essential parts of crypto. Whatever you buy, you will most likely, in my opinion, make a crazy sum of money. But in this example, it would have definitely been a long wait. If you'd bought in March or April, yeah, at first it would have actually gotten significantly worse for a while. You can see here maybe half a year or so before they got significantly better. If we waited and these things were back in an upswing, which again, we would not have to buy at this November level. We would not have to buy the moment it starts flipping upwards because we could have been faked out before at these August levels when it went up to the 57 mark. Even if we waited until top was reached, so the top of altcoin season, like all the way up there, and we only started buying it right there, that would have then been equivalent to buying altcoins around this area, which could have still marked roughly 70% gains or so on the altcoin market over the next, let's say, 2 months, if we bought at peak of peak, which again, just to put it into perspective, would be equivalent to basically trying to time the bottom. So the bottom right here is 72%. The second, I guess, round is again around 70, 80%. However, again, the nice part being that you perhaps could skip about half a year or 3/4 of a year, whatever, of downside by not trying to time the bottom of the bottom, but by trying to time when things are already doing well. Again, just starting to buy when altcoin season kind of clearly shows itself, brings crazy amounts of gains without really too much of a downside. Here, you could have potentially gone down for like a few weeks here, but specifically, it was one push down, roughly 2 days before things started going crazy after this altcoin season marker was hit. Now, I'll tell you one more thing. This is not a foolproof strategy. Why not? Because exactly what I've told you guys today will most likely work the opposite if the bull market is ended, if the bear market's here. And this is crucial, and one thing a lot of people don't understand. Almost any strategy you talk about in the essence that I just described, along the lines of, oh, let's start buying when things are doing well, this works extremely well and is extremely low risk if you're in a general bullish narrative. If you look, for example, back at 2022, and you were to do this, you were to look for when altcoins are doing good to start buying again, you'd have most likely lost a ton of money because the general wave is negative. The general trend is downwards. So if you get a crazy spike in altcoins, it looks like an altcoin season, but it's basically a bear market. You're trying to buy the top of other people, so you're going to lose a lot. And this is one lesson I've taught myself quite early. Back in 2017 or 2018, there was a bot that I had running, and that bot made me so much money. It's incredible. It's really incredible. But I also lost so much. Why? I'll talk a little bit more about my friend 𝗕𝗪𝗪 here later on. But one of the things he brought up is just how much he was trading back at that time and how his account went from, for example, $30,000 right here, slowly creeping up towards, let's just quickly keep scrolling, 7-8 million. You can see the dates, right? You can see this is, for example, about February of 2021. There it's $8 million and middle of April 2021. And there is a screenshot, April 14th, a balance of 12 million, mostly in FTT. Things go really, really fast in a bull market. But once things start crumbling down, all your bull market strategies, throw them out the window. Any bot you had to try buy dips. What the bot did was any single crypto in my batch that I had listed, it tries to buy the dip once it's down 1%, 5%, 10%, whatever, because in a bull market, all these altcoins start pumping like crazy again, probably the next day. So again, a strategy that works in bull markets and works in peak euphoria is trying to buy like the distressed assets of the day. A coin is down 60%, buy the living crap out of it because it will probably pump again 40% tomorrow. This is a risky strategy, but very often it does work. In a bear market though, you try to buy something that's down 60%, you're going to wake up to another 60% down the day after. And many people don't notice the big difference. Like what we're facing right now, for example, feels to them like a bear market, but this is a bearish phase in a bull market. I cannot subscribe to the idea that the bull run is over because, again, following all the logic we've seen with crypto, it doesn't make sense. It's a completely different pattern. And I think for the most part, it's just what they want you to think. They want you to think it's over because, listen, what I just described to you is that crypto always works in a similar fashion and that it moves like this. In an uptrend, you have definitely got down periods still. But the key there is to hold through it. And in my opinion, to start going crazy again when things are going crazy again, because it's the least risky thing. But what they want you to think is the moment that things start going good, that's the last good you'll ever see. Why? Because that means you are selling when things get bad. You understand where I'm coming from? So instead of you trying to buy when things are bad, you sell when things are bad, which is exactly the opposite of what they're doing, causing them to be in a very, very fortunate situation. Again, I also think all these numbers that we've seen with the ETFs here, a lot of it is still quite undescribable. And what I mean with that, for example, is why is the IBIT so quiet? And I'm not talking about quiet as in low numbers. I'm talking about 0 and a slight negative. What is going on there? Why are the numbers looking like this? I haven't really seen people explain too much about why it works in the way it does, but I do kind of feel as if we are not being shown everything. Perhaps it has to do with hedges, but perhaps, this is just a perhaps, they are again putting these negative numbers out there as well to scare you. I'm not 1,000% sure on this, but I keep thinking there must be more to their strategy when it comes to these ETFs. Because again, this is the big money joining the leagues right now. And again, they have good analysts, they have smart people. Let's say somebody in one of these major companies thought, hey, if we can manipulate the numbers in a certain way, but for example, disembarking, let's call it, funds of the ETF these days by, this and that and this and that, and then doing it, depositing it basically the other days, we can most likely turn this into X amount of profit because of this and that and this and that. There are definitely some good arguments to be made that that's some of the shenanigans going on in the background. Because again, Larry Fink has been such a massive bull. I can't believe that only, such little amounts of money are flowing into the Bitcoin and the whole crypto ecosystem, even though the most important asset manager in the world is so excited about it. It doesn't feel logical to me. It feels as if the demand is way higher, but it's being suppressed, which is again one of the key reasons I'm just always buying like a freaking madman, and I don't really care what anybody says. I still think the altcoin season is kind of like I just described. There's so much fear right now, but that's exactly what they want you to feel. Just chill out, look back at another 12 months or so, and you'll notice a lot of it was for nothing. A lot of it is just to keep you occupied, I guess, and keep you, hopefully, from making your massive potential in terms of profits. But remember, guys, everything can change in an extremely short amount of time if you're finding the right timing. And again, let's say you were wrong twice. So you bought and things went down for a bit. You bought and things went down for a bit. Maybe the third time's a charm, or rather, as long as you're not completely getting wrecked, it's just a game of patience. It's hard to lose money, in my opinion, when it comes to this crypto stuff. But make sure you join the Discord. Make sure you press that like button, and I'm going to see you guys again in another one. I've got so many strategy videos coming up over the next few months because I know how crazy it's going to get, and I want you guys to witness this. But yeah, that's about it.